Good afternoon, everybody. Today is September 25th, Wednesday, the middle of the week, hump day, and there's a lot going on the war front. Um, America, like I spoke about yesterday and posted a video, a news clip yesterday, America has deployed United States soldiers. They've sent troops over to the Middle East in anticipation of a ground war between Israel and Hezbollah. Right now, people are currently running for their lives in Lebanon after Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued an order for them to evacuate. And the reason why he issued the order is because he says that Hezbollah has been hiding weapons of mass destruction in the civilians' Lebanese homes, and he basically told them that Hezbollah is using you all as human shields. They have been hijacking in the Gaza Strip. They had been hijacking humanitarian aid trucks that were taking food and medical supplies and equipment to the refugees, the Palestinian refugees over in Gaza and the West Bank. And so Israel had to attack and annihilate those trucks, meaning that the people couldn't get the much needed food, medicine, water, and supplies over there in order to sustain themselves while, living in the refugee camps. Hezbollah had no regard. They would hijack the humanitarian aid trucks, and that's the reason why the news reports and the media was saying, oh, Israel is just shooting down these humanitarian aid trucks, but they didn't give the reason why Israel was shooting down those humanitarian aid trucks, because Hezbollah was using them as command centers and using them to ambush Israeli soldiers. So now that the war has moved and shifted to Hezbollah in the north, Hezbollah is using Lebanese civilians as human shields pretty much, and hiding weapons, missiles and rockets and drones in their homes. So Prime Minister Netanyahu has told them, you must flee from Lebanon because we have to get rid of these weapons. And it is not us. We're not at war against the Lebanese people. We are at war against Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is using these people as human shields. So that's what's happening over there now. It's like now over 100,000 people have currently been displaced from their homes because Israel is about to get rid of those weapons, and that means blowing up their houses that the weapons are being stored in. And so you all seen what happened when Ukraine blew up that ammunition plant in Russia. Now Israel is about to blow up many homes that have rockets and missiles and drones and ammunition stored in them. And I'm hoping, well, it might be, it might have to happen. That is going to be such a major site of destruction when they start blowing up houses with bombs stored within them. Can you imagine the devastation the devastating impact that it's going to have on Lebanon? It's going to destroy Lebanon because they're going to have to blow up houses filled with ammunition. It might cause another earthquake like Ukraine caused when they blew up that Russian ammunition plant with all those long-range missiles. So the world is going to have to brace itself for the damage that attack or that strike is going to impose upon the country of Lebanon and the Lebanese people. It's not going to be a pretty sight. It's going to cause major damage and destruction. Yeah, so that's what's going on over there. Hezbollah is using these people as human shields and storing weapons in their houses. And Israel they got to level Lebanon. They have to level Lebanon to get rid of those weapons. Um, and that's what's happening. Russia. Zelensky has told the United Nations in a speech that he gave yesterday or the day before yesterday that Russia is planning on attacking its Ukrainian nuclear power plants. Now y'all know that Russia has been Ukraine and Russia has been shelling that Zaporizhia power plant for almost or over a year now. The Zaporizhia power plant, which is the largest power plant in Europe. And what's going to happen is if they destroy that power plant, not only will it release radiation into the air and cause chemical warfare on that whole region, it's going to affect Russia and Ukraine if they blow up that power plant. And then it's going to knock out power to several countries in that area. So, will it be another Chernobyl? Probably not, but I don't know. We don't know the effect that it's going to have if they blow up that power plant. It is going to be a nuclear attack. That's a nuclear attack. And that's going to cause NATO to get into it because when they blow up that power plant in Zaporizhia, it's going to affect Poland because Poland is right across the border from Ukraine. So that's when NATO is going to get into it. It's going to be considered a nuclear attack under Article 5, and it's going to cause a war. Then World War III will kick off because that puts NATO in it. And you know that we, the United States, is a member of NATO. So we're going to get into it, and it's going to kick off World War III effectively. They keep shelling that plant. That Zaporizhia power plant has been in danger for over a year that I've been following it so far, or longer. So Zelensky has told the United Nations, he has been repeatedly warning the United Nations and NATO that Russia is going to blow up this power plant because it's going to attack the power grid to where Ukraine has no power. And they are doing that. Zelensky said that Russia is doing that in anticipation for wintertime to put Ukrainians in the cold and the dark during the winter months. So that's what's happening over there in Europe. Also, that's what's happening over there. Zelensky keeps trying to plead with NATO over and over again. He's just been, making visits to, the different NATO countries, and he's come over here to America. He's went to the UK, and he said, look, give us the permission to launch the long-range missiles that you've provided us with. What good are they if we can't use them the way we need to use them? So Ukraine is still waiting on the restrictions to be lifted in order to fire the long-range missiles inside of Russia that America and the UK, well, not so much the UK. America is dragging its feet on lifting those restrictions, which I don't understand why Zelensky. Well, I understand why Zelensky is not using them because he doesn't want to lose the assistance of America in providing arms and funds, for this war. But at the end of the day, Zelensky's going to have to get like Netanyahu and just be like, you know what, we got to defend ourselves to the best of our ability. So it's not UK and America whose countries are at war right now. And their countries, it's not the UK and the US whose country is being devastated from inside attacks from Russia. It's Ukraine. So if I was Zelensky, I wouldn't wait on America or the UK to give me orders on what I need to do to defend my country. You better do like Netanyahu and do what you got to do. China launched a nuke into the Pacific Ocean yesterday or the day before yesterday. They launched a nuke. I guess they're going to flex their muscle to the world and let them know y'all going to FA and FO. But they launched a nuke into the Pacific Ocean as a nuclear test. So China is getting geared up. They're getting ready. But yeah, war is really not a laughing matter. It's not because those Lebanese people, those civilians over there are being forced out of their homes, and so many people have died. Hundreds of people have died in a single attack in the past couple of days. One attack, in there's one attack the day before yesterday that killed nearly 600 people and injured thousands of others. So it's just not a laughing matter, really, but it's just like you got to laugh sometime to keep from crying in this world. But yep, China is conducting nuclear tests into the Pacific Ocean to let America, especially, and Taiwan and Japan know y'all going to FA and FO. Remember, yesterday I reported that Russia had launched nuclear tests and it failed on their Sarmat Satan II nuclear missile. So it exploded. So, okay. So now Russia is saying, told America, hey, if y'all, we didn't do we didn't conduct. They issued a statement saying that if America agrees to not conduct any nuclear tests, then we won't. No, yeah, you're issuing this statement now because you conducted a nuclear test and it failed. Your bomb exploded. Your unstoppable bomb, Satan II, as you call it, exploded. So now you want America to calm down on their nuclear activity or their nuclear testing. No, it don't work that way. Someone over here in the United States, in Los Angeles, decided to hijack a bus yesterday. Well, actually, it was earlier this morning after midnight. Last night, a little after midnight. Somebody decides they want to hijack a bus in Los Angeles with passengers on it. It resulted in one passenger being killed. He made the bus driver drive around for quite a ways because I think it started in downtown LA all the way to like 116th and Figueroa, or it started from 116th and Figueroa to downtown LA on 6th Street before they were able to get that bus and arrest the suspect. It's a shame how public transportation now is unsafe. You can't even ride the bus or the subway now without some lunatic getting on it and, going ape crap crazy on everybody. You don't know what type of mental illness they're dealing with, or if it's a domestic terrorist attack. You just don't know. But it's been happening a lot recently. And the only reason why the authorities were alerted is because the bus drivers have those panic buttons. And they said that the bus driver in LA had pressed his panic button, which alerted the authorities of what was happening. So they were able to regain control of the bus and arrest the suspect. But it's just like now bus drivers don't get paid enough for the things they have to put up with. Bus drivers, cab drivers, train conductors, anybody who operates public transit, they don't get paid enough because of the dangers that their job entails and, the responsibilities and things. They just don't make enough to put up with what they have to put up with. And like I said, you can't even, it was recent, it was a hijacking of a bus in June in Atlanta. And then the most recent attack on public transit was when that 30-year-old man in Chicago boarded the subway at about 4 o'clock in the morning and killed 4 people. He just randomly just stepped on the subway in Chicago and killed 4 people while they slept on the subway in Chicago. And now this hijacking of the bus in LA. So this stuff is getting even more. It's getting to the point you can't even send your kids to school. You can't ride public transportation to work. It's just so much danger and wickedness in this world that it's just, you're not safe anywhere now. That's why you have to stay prayed up. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Get baptized. Get saved. Repent of your sins. Ask the Lord to forgive you. Get baptized. Get saved before this stuff all just go and just it's just going to descend into pure chaos. And I believe I read somewhere that Israel is under martial law now because they are at war. So yeah, it would be safe to believe or safe to expect that they are operating under martial law now. But yeah, it is it's really sad. In Kentucky, a sheriff shot a circuit court judge. It's like in a little small town in Kentucky, Letcher County, Kentucky. Sounds like one of those good old boy towns where if you drive through it, they stop and pulling you over, especially if you're African American. They're going to pull you over and stack you a bunch of tickets and all that other stuff. But this is in Letcher County, Kentucky, where everybody knows everybody. The judges and the cops and everybody go to lunch and dinner, and they know each other, and they went to high school together. It just sounds like a little small, close-knit community. So what happened anyway is that the sheriff shot a judge. And the thing about it is that the reports say that they had went to lunch together prior to this sheriff shooting the judge and killing him. And the reason why he did it, the motive is because there was some type of investigation going on with another law enforcement or sheriff's deputy or sheriff. Yeah, it was a sheriff's deputy that sexually assaulted a woman. And the sheriff who killed the judge was that sheriff deputy's supervisor. And so the judge ruled that the sheriff did not adequately investigate the whole rape incident or sexual assault incident. I'm not being monetized, so I can say these words. So, yes, the judge ruled in the case that the sheriff did not adequately investigate the incident. So I guess that made that sheriff mad, or maybe he feared that, he would lose his job or something, or face some type of disciplinary action. So he shot the judge after he had went to lunch with the judge. So anyway, he went to court, pleaded not guilty. He had a hearing, I think, yesterday, and he's trying to claim that he's indigent and needs to have an attorney appointed, a court-appointed lawyer, a public defender. But they investigated his finances and saw that he made $115,000, salary as the sheriff, and he owned 2 homes. But he's claiming indigent and need a court-appointed lawyer. Yeah. He's being held without bond, by the way. So we'll see how that goes, how that works out. So yeah. Also, did you know that there is an all-Muslim ran city right here in the United States? If you didn't know, now you know, because I'm about to tell you. Well, you're about to know. You're finna know. I'm about to tell you that. There's a city in Michigan, right outside of Detroit, with a population of around 30,000 people. And this city has an all-Muslim city council and a Muslim mayor. The city is called Hamtramck, Michigan. It's like a spit's throw from Detroit, right by Detroit, Hamtramck. Yeah, and it's a entirely Muslim-ran city. And it has a Muslim-ran government. All members of the city council and the mayor are Muslim. Well, anyway, this mayor, his name is Amir Ghalib, and he was born in Yemen. He's an immigrant from Yemen. And he has decided to endorse Trump. But yeah, I never knew that we had an all-Muslim ran city here in the United States. But yeah, up in Michigan, right by Detroit. But yet and still, they won't give African Americans a city or a state. Every time we try to establish our own communities, they either infiltrate it some type of way and try to benefit off of it, or they destroy it, like history has shown. Every time we try to go and form our own independent community, our independent towns, and be self-sufficient, they will always try to figure out a way that they can come in and be a part of it, or if they can't be a part of it, then they will destroy it. It's happened in Tulsa, it happened in Rosewood, it happened in, was it Black Wall Street? Yeah, Tulsa. They will not allow us to do that, but every other minority can have certain sections of the city that they, established communities. You have Chinatown, you have Koreatown, you have areas where mainly Hispanics live and work. You have the Indians, they have their own reservations and their own sovereign governments and everything, but they will not let African Americans ever obtain that type of independence or have access to the resources to form our own communities where we are self sufficient. They will never allow us to do that. And the reason being is because, in my opinion, African Americans are the most feared people in this country, and that's why we remain the most oppressed people in this country. But yeah, it's an all Muslim city in Hamtramck, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. And the mayor has just formally endorsed Trump, which, you know, that's, to each his own. Another beach house has washed out into the ocean in North Carolina. It's on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Uh, I got a news clip on here of the house just washing out into the ocean, and I bet you that house costs every bit of about $250,000 to $500,000 or more. Just washed out into the ocean. Several houses have washed out into the ocean due to erosion and the recent hurricanes. So these houses are literally and figuratively built on sand. So, in the meantime, Central Europe continues to be hammered by Storm Boris. Right now, Budapest is submerged in floods. Yeah, Budapest, Hungary is now flooded. And the rain continues. Storm Boris continues to flood Central Europe. And it's just expanding to just different countries all over that continent. And last but not least, I want to get on this story that I reported about Sean Diddy Combs and this book released by his late children's mother, Kim Porter. A lot of people, including myself, was questioning the authenticity of this book. And so I guess as the concerns grew and more people were questioning the validity of the book, now the author is trying to claim in an interview that the book is just real to him. They just outright, flat out asked him, is this book real? And the author, Chris Todd, who is a self-proclaimed investigator, is now saying that the book is real to him. Now, what I'm getting from this is that as the chatter grows louder and people are questioning the validity of his book, you know what it seems to me? It seems to me as if this white man first of all, he used a black sounding name to publish the book and put it on Amazon for sale. This is a white man, old middle-aged white man, who used a black sounding pseudonym as the author of this book and uploaded this book on Amazon and sold it. And they said it has reached Amazon's bestsellers list because it contains so much salacious, debaucherous, wicked, disgusting, sexual, deviant behavior that made Sean Combs, Diddy, and Kim Porter and all the people around them just look like some outright nasty, satanic sexual deviants. So anyway, this book has not been researched. It has not been confirmed or verified by nobody because Kim Porter is not even here to defend herself. Puffy's in jail. He can't defend himself. Diddy, he's in jail. He can't defend himself against this book. So the only defense they have now is the statement, the public denouncement of this book by Diddy, Sean Combs, and Kim Porter's children. It has just gotten to the point that the kids they were forced to release a statement denouncing the book and saying, look, our mother didn't write this book. And anybody who's claiming to be her friend and whoever this white man is that's profiting off the pain of this family. The kids came out and issued a very classy and eloquent statement just denouncing the book. But this is about the most vile, wickedest, evil, and heartless thing that you can do to somebody. Dancing on a dead woman's grave. And the public just slops it up. They just love this, all these blogs and all these people reading the book and accepting it as if it's true, as if everything is fact. And this white man then wrote this book and then got paid off this book and made Lord knows how much money. So it's pretty much as it goes in America. Make money off this woman's death, profit off the pain of her loved ones. White people profiting off of black pain, pretty much. So I commend her kids for making that statement, and I just hope that this author, because he chose to publish this book as a quick money grab and make money off this family's traumatizing experiences without even so much as doing any type of research or verification of the information that he put out here. I hope that the oldest son, Quincy, he's 33. I hope that Quincy consults with his father and takes the initiative to hire the most bloodthirsty ambulance chasing attorney that they can find and sue the shoes off this man for putting this book out. Every dime that he made off this book, I hope you sue him for it and more, because he deserves every bit of it, to release this garbage, this filth about this woman who passed away at such a young age and seemed like she didn't have an enemy in the world. Everybody loved this lady, Kim Porter, from what I've read in the media. Although I don't deny, and I don't deny the fact that there's a lot of wickedness and debauchery going on in Hollywood. And I do believe that some tapes do exist of this wickedness and debauchery from a lot of celebrities and politicians and movers and shakers, that was in Puffy's inner circle, as well as, his colleagues and peers. And there's a lot of rich, powerful people did engage in a lot of debaucherous behavior. I do believe that, because that world is just wicked. But to sit up there and write a book, to take advantage of the opportunity to write such a terrible book, just ripping these reputations of these individuals to shred for your own personal gain and for monetary gain, I think it's the most evil, vile, wickedest thing that a person can do. And this man is going to face the severest punishment from God for doing that. All because you wanted to make $1. You wanted to make a quick buck off of this family's pain. And you didn't care how you hurt their children. So the way God works, where I know that the Lord works, is that I hope you don't have children, because they're going to suffer a pain that you will not believe, because you didn't care about how you hurt this family. You did no research. At least you could have did. If you're going to put something out there, at least do your research and make sure that what you're writing is true. So, or at least know that you put forth some type of effort to confirm the information. Or put in a disclaimer of the book. If you're going to write something, if you want to make money that bad, if you need money that bad, at least put in a strong disclaimer that none of the information that you put out there was verified. But now you want to make a quick buck off these black people and exploit the situation right now, the current situation. It never gets old. It always happens. They always manage a way to try to benefit off of the backs of black people. I hope they sue the shoes off this man. So, anyway, I had to get that off my chest, though, in all fairness. So, okay, y'all. Anything else comes up, I will definitely be back. I'm going to post the news clips up. And I will see you guys next time. Be blessed.
Joining me now is Ambassador Michael Herzog, Israel's ambassador to the United States. Ambassador, thank you so much for being with us. First of all, Prime Minister Netanyahu has given a speech, a video message, I should say, saying that he's determined to return all of those thousands of people, more than 60,000, maybe 100,000 people who've been away from their homes since October 8th. And that means more war with the North.
So let's explain how we got here. Hezbollah has been attacking Israel since October 8th. Hamas launched a war, and Hezbollah followed one day after, an unprovoked war against the State of Israel. Since then, they have fired over 8,000 rockets into Israel, over 1,000 anti-tank missiles, and hundreds of drones. They tie themselves to Gaza. And they've been saying, as long as there's war in Gaza, we will support. In a way, Nasrallah gave Hamas and Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, the key to stability in Lebanon and along the Lebanese-Israeli border. As a result, tens of thousands of Israelis had to evacuate their homes, over 60,000, and without any horizon when exactly they can go back. For us, for any sovereign state, this is intolerable. We said all along, we are willing to give diplomacy a chance. If that can settle the issue, of course, that's preferable. We do not seek war. But nor are we deterred from war. And if diplomacy doesn't work, I think we have to resort to other means to change their calculus and return our people to their homes. Any state, what would the U.S. do if so many people were to evacuate their homes because a neighboring entity fires missiles and rockets at it?
But what the Secretary of State is saying, that to escalate with this offensive in the air, on the ground, on pagers, is no way to de-escalate, that it makes the people more dangerous for them to go back to their homes with the war heating up.
As I said, we are not pushing for war, but if Hezbollah doesn't change its behavior and continues to tie itself to Gaza, it leaves us with no other option but to push further and further militarily. Now, we're not focusing only on military activities. We are degrading their capabilities in a very effective manner, but at the same time, we are still giving a chance to diplomacy. We are working very closely with the U.S. administration on a diplomatic outcome, kind of an off-ramp, that will allow the parties to de-escalate.
Savannah Guthrie asked Secretary Blinken today about a number of instances recently, not just assassinations, but the pager explosions, airstrikes in Lebanon, where the U.S. had no heads up, where they were blindsided. One time, even as Secretary Blinken, by the way, was landing in Cairo for diplomacy, the pagers went off. So his response was, we prefer not to have surprises. Why blindside your closest ally and chief supplier of arms?
All I can say, without going into specific details, that we have very close daily consultations with the U.S. administration, the various branches of the administration. They know what we're doing by and large, and they understand the logic of what we're doing. It doesn't mean that we always agree on everything. But I wouldn't use the term blindside the U.S. I think our consultations are very close.
Isn't it more difficult to have any kind of ceasefire in Gaza, which Hezbollah and the other Iranian proxies observed last time in November, the brief pause? But they're not going to observe, there's not going to be a ceasefire in Gaza while this is all going on. And the hostages may not survive.
We've been trying a hostage deal in Gaza for months now. President Biden came out with a framework which we supported and endorsed, and was endorsed by the UN at the time. Then the US put forward a bridging proposal in mid-August, which we embraced as well. We're still waiting to see for Hamas to say yes to any of this, to the framework and to the specific details that are there. I think part of the public discourse does not get the full picture, but it takes two to tango, and I still don't see Hamas in a zone of possible agreement. That is very unfortunate. You're right, every day that passes by endangers their lives. We have to do our utmost to get them out. But we are not alone in this game. And to date, as the US itself said, Hamas has still not said yes to the Biden framework.
Well, neither has Israel to certain elements. And arguably, I know you have to go, but arguably it's harder to negotiate with Hamas when the political leader was assassinated in Tehran, and now it means dealing with Sinwar in the tunnel, who doesn't communicate very easily.
I will say that whoever thinks that Haniya was a moderate, the leader of Hamas was a moderate political leader.
I didn't call him moderate.
Is very wrong. And I can tell you that on the issue of hostage deal, Haniya was the most hawkish of all of them.
I have a message for the people of Lebanon. Israel's war is not with you. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens. I have a message for the people of Lebanon. Israel's war is not with you. It's with Hezbollah. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens. To defend our people against Hezbollah strikes, we must take out those weapons. Now, starting this morning, the IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon. Please, get out of harm's way now. Once our operation is finished, you can come back safely to your homes.
Recently, I received yet another alarming report from our intelligence. Now, Putin does seem to be planning attacks on our nuclear power plants and their infrastructure, aiming to disconnect the plants from the power grid. With the help of satellites, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, satellites of other countries. Russia is getting images and detailed information about the infrastructure of our nuclear power plants. But what does this really threaten? Any missile or drone strike, any critical incident in the energy system could lead to a nuclear disaster. A day like that must never come. Peace is needed, and it must be a real, just peace. Unfortunately, at the UN, it's impossible to truly and fairly resolve matters of war and peace because too much depends in the Security Council on the veto power. When the aggressor exercises veto power, the UN is powerless to stop the war, but the peace formula can. Once again, there is no veto power in it. That's why it's the best opportunity for peace. Everyone is equal, and it's effective and comprehensive.
A big Chinese missile test, an intercontinental ballistic missile which flew and splashed down somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. It's not surprising that China has a military capability for long-range missiles as well as a nuclear capability. The difference this time is the public nature, a statement from Chinese authorities that came out early explaining about the test that had happened. It was short on detail. It didn't mention things like range and trajectory, but it said that the missile only had a dummy warhead on it. Obviously, for countries in the region, from the Philippines to Indonesia to Vietnam, as well as further afield their allies like the United States. The question will be, what is China's intention? What is China signaling with this public announcement of a long-range missile test? And what is the significance for its military posture?
Wild pursuit overnight after a Metro bus was hijacked at gunpoint. And we've just learned one person has been killed.
Eyewitness News reporter Marco Robles live in downtown Los Angeles with the very latest. Mark.
Yeah, John, Irene, good morning. We learned minutes ago that one man died at the hospital after being shot multiple times on this Metro bus. Right now, we are at Alameda in between 6th and 7th. It is still an active investigation out here. Show you the bus right down there. You can see the emergency alert on the back saying call 911, call police because of the emergency. Again, one man dead, the suspect taken into custody, the bus driver rescued by officers. Well, that conclusion caught on camera when the LAPD SWAT moved in. You can see the bus driver then climbing out from the driver's side window. He apparently was not injured. The man killed, again, found shot multiple times on the bus. A second passenger was not injured. Again, prior to all of this, there was a pursuit. Take a look at those moments. Well, that slow speed pursuit started just before 1 a.m., about 6 miles away from here at Figueroa and Manchester in South LA. That's when the suspect carjacked the bus at gunpoint. The bus driver still behind the wheel during the pursuit. There was that assault on board. LAPD officers using spike strips to get those bus tires flat. It eventually worked. That driver then stopping here on Alameda near the Arts District. Certainly a frightening situation. Metro releasing a statement this morning saying that it is grateful for LAPD's swift action this morning. So again, a lot of developments. LAPD spoke just minutes ago. We have the one man found dead. He was shot multiple times. He then died at County USC Medical Center. One other passenger was able to get off the bus at the conclusion of this, along with the bus driver and the suspect taken into custody.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.
Mickey and Kevin were really close and good friends. I never saw any hostilities between them.
Residents in Letcher County are struggling to cope with a shooting involving two of its most prominent citizens. District Judge Kevin Mullins is dead after authorities say the county sheriff shot and killed him in the judge's chambers on Thursday. Many residents have told WHAS 11 they have nothing but praise for them both. Residents also said the two worked closely to help people who struggled with substance abuse to get the treatment they need and were leaders in addressing the opioid crisis.
These were two great pillars of the community that we have now, in a sense, lost. This is just one of those things you're just waiting to wake up from the nightmare, but because you never dream that anything like this is ever going to happen in your small town, especially Whitesburg. And here we are, and you just don't know where to turn from one moment to the next.
According to the Letcher County Circuit Court clerk, Judge Mullins and County Sheriff Sean Steins were together shortly before noon on Thursday. The clerk said the two seemed to be having an ordinary interaction and were planning to get lunch together. WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton spoke with attorneys and former judges here in Louisville who are also still processing this news.
Well, it didn't take long for attorneys and former judges here in Louisville to hear about this news, disturbed by the fact that this kind of violence could happen in the courthouse, a place they say they almost always feel safe.
Not only affects judges, it affects the court system as a whole.
Retired District Court Judge Janice Martin, like so many who've worked in the judicial system across Kentucky, is deeply troubled by the violence that played out in that Eastern Kentucky courthouse.
I'm very saddened and horrified about the event, because I'm sure that's a very traumatic event for all of those people that were involved.
Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins shot and killed in his own chambers, and authorities believe it was the sheriff, Sean Steins, who pulled the trigger and shot him multiple times. Investigators are trying to confirm a motive. Matt Butler, the state prosecutor for the area, on Facebook sharing his personal connection to the judge.
His daughters are my nieces, and that my two oldest kids are his niece and nephew.
There are questions surrounding a federal lawsuit against Sheriff Steins, accused of turning a blind eye to one of his deputies sexually abusing a woman in that same judge's chambers.
It would be a locked area, and only the judge and his staff would have access to that.
Mullins died at the scene, and Steins surrendered to authorities. A KSP spokesperson says the sheriff is charged with first-degree murder. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11, on your side.
Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman says his office will work with a Commonwealth's attorney in London, Kentucky, as the special prosecutor in this case.
In recent presidential elections, results don't get much tighter than they do in Michigan. In 2020, President Biden won by about 154,000 votes. In 2016, Donald Trump won by fewer than 11,000 votes. That's about 2 votes per precinct. That's why on Sunday, when the mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan, announced his support for former President Trump after a closed session in Flint, it made national news.
Toward the end of the meeting, he asked me, would you be able to endorse me and tell people to vote for me?
Ghalib, a Yemeni-American leader in the first U.S. city with a Muslim-majority council, wrote on Facebook, "President Trump and I may not agree on everything, but I know he is a man of principles. And I'm ready to face the consequences."
We have hope that he will end the war in the Middle East. There is nothing worse than what's happening now.
During the state's Democratic primary earlier this year, more than 100,000 voters cast their ballots as uncommitted in response to President Biden's support for Israel. Leaders of the uncommitted national movement announced last week they will not endorse the vice president, but urge their supporters to not vote for Trump.
We believe that we can continue to grow our anti-war organizing power and really push for real change as it relates to failed U.S. foreign policy under a Democratic coalition. It's where we believe our power lies. It's where we've built strong connections.
The movement's co-founder, Lexis Zaydan, says Arab and Muslim Americans generally still see the Democratic Party as their political home. Harris leads Trump in almost every statewide poll, but it's a close race. The Hamtramck mayor may not be the person to turn that around. Ghalib and the city council aren't exactly known for being progressive. Last year, they gained national attention when, during the middle of Pride Month, they voted unanimously to ban LGBTQ+ pride flags from city properties. The mayor says he told former President Trump he'd like him to visit Hamtramck and that he expects the campaign to set up an office in the city to ramp up their ground game over the next 6 weeks. In Washington, I'm Atrel Nishar.
The heart of Central Europe lies shattered tonight. What began as a slow-moving storm has turned into a disaster of unimaginable proportions. 17 lives gone. Thousands of families torn from their homes. And the waters? They are still rising. Storm Boris has left devastation in its wake, and as we speak, the rain continues to fall, pushing communities to the brink. In Romania, 7 lives have already been claimed. Homes that stood for generations are now swallowed by the relentless floodwaters. Galati County is drowning, with over 5,500 households destroyed. In neighboring Vaslui, hundreds more are under siege by the surging rivers. In Poland, the death toll has risen to 5, with officials working around the clock to protect towns from swollen rivers and crumbling dams. Some barriers held, but many failed, unleashing torrents of water that swept away everything in their path: bridges, homes, livelihoods. Austria, too, suffers under the weight of this catastrophe. 3 lives lost, including a firefighter, a hero who fell while trying to protect his community. Tens of thousands of volunteers are working day and night to save what's left, but the floodwaters keep coming. Vienna, a city of 2 million, is now in crisis, its river transformed into a raging beast. And in the Czech Republic, the situation is no better. 12 people are still missing, and thousands have fled their homes. The memories of the 1997 floods haunt those who survived, But for some, today's disaster feels even worse. This is no ordinary flood. This is a battle for survival, a battle against a storm that refuses to let go. But as the rains fall, as the rivers rise, so does the spirit of those on the ground. Emergency workers, volunteers, neighbors, fighting side by side to save lives, to protect what little remains. Rescuing families from rooftops, risking their own lives to give others a chance. The storm may not be over, but the world needs to know Central Europe is fighting back. This is not just a flood, it is a crisis. And in the face of crisis, we must stand together. Subscribe to follow this story and learn how you can help.
The donkey of the day. That's time for the donkey of the day. That's pretty funny.
Charlemagne the devil?
Possibly. The Breakfast Club.
Yes. Donkey of the Day for Wednesday, September 25th goes to Chris Todd. Chris Todd is the man behind the publication of a book called Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. It is a 59-page book that, as of yesterday, was #1 on Amazon. It was self-published on September 6th, but ever since Diddy was arrested, sales have gone through the roof. Now, the book makes allegations about Kim Porter's relationship with Diddy, says things like Diddy was begging for a pagan. He wanted to be... Man, shut up. I'm trying to be a serious journalist.
I'm sorry.
That's your problem.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to be a serious journalist.
Ain't nothing as serious a journalist about nothing over there.
Let me get back. I'm not listening to you. Let me get back.
Let me woosah. Go ahead. Channel it from your inner thick thighs.
Begging from the pagan. Go.
Come on.
Now, the book makes allegations about Kim Porter's relationship with Diddy. Says things like Diddy was begging for a pagan. He wanted to be penetrated. I don't know how that helps to move the story forward, but it's there. Okay, what are some other things in this book, Lauren LaRosa?
The book also alleges that Diddy had extravagant sex parties with high-profile celebrities, including Oscar winners, that Diddy allegedly recorded himself in very compromising situations, including an encounter with an 18-year-old male pop star who went on to become a household name. It also alleges that he was physically violent to Kim Porter. It also alleges that Kim Porter had to make copies of certain tapes as insurance because she thought things would be used against her. These are all alleged in this book.
Damn. Now, the way Chris Todd got this book, according to him, this is what he told Rolling Stone. He said 2 people allegedly close to Combs and Kim contacted him about the book after claiming to have the late actress and model's hard drive, which he said he didn't question. He claimed they said they had her flash drive. I didn't ask too many questions about how they got it or where did it come from. And that right there is the problem. That is the problem I have, okay? That right there is exactly what's wrong with this era. People get information and don't ask any questions about it. He said he didn't ask about how they got it or where did it come from. Okay? It's salacious, it's shocking, and it will generate what? Money and attention. That's all folks care about nowadays. We have all these conversations about combating misinformation. We wouldn't have to combat misinformation if people simply had some integrity. Because I don't care how juicy a story is. I don't care how controversial a story is. First things first, you have to make sure it's true. You have to at least attempt to do some fact checking. Okay, cite some sources. I was born in 1978. I'm old enough to remember when we knew the difference between tabloid gossip and actual factual news and information. Those days are over. And the reason Chris Todd is getting donkey of the day is because he also told Rolling Stone magazine, if somebody put my feet to the fire and they said life or death, is that book real? I have to say, I don't know, but it's real enough to me. Sometimes you have to just put it out there. What do you mean it's real enough to me? Who are you. F your feelings. Let's deal with the facts. Just because you believe something doesn't make it true. And on the flip side, just because you don't believe something, it doesn't make it false. By the way, you're listening to someone who would see the headlines as a kid like, I had Bigfoot's love child. You know, you'd be in the line at the grocery store with your mom and you see the tabloid and I had Bigfoot's love child. I will see those headlines and want to hear more. But that don't mean I believed it. That is not how this generation works, though. If they see it on social media, if they see it on a website, it doesn't matter what the source is. It doesn't matter where it came from, who's saying it. If they want to believe it, they will, because nobody cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. Chris Todd goes on to tell Rolling Stone, maybe not 100% of the book is true, but maybe 80% is.
What?
He said that is to get those people to come forward and either corroborate or deny the claims, and that helps me as an investigator to know the truth. Chris Todd, what the F are you even talking about? Okay, don't try to make this some moral, righteous release as if you're putting this book out because you want people to corroborate or deny claims. A real investigator would take this book, and if there's something to be investigated, if there are leads to be had, then they would go and collect real evidence to build their case. Chris, you just trying to make money off a hot topic. Knock it off. And you don't care about who you hurt in the process. And this ain't about Diddy, okay? This is not about Diddy at all. This is about the legacy of Kim Porter. I didn't know Kim Porter. Sat next to her once at a Dave Chappelle comedy show. One of her best friends is one of my favorite people on the planet, Marbette Brittle. Drop on the clues bomb for Marbette Brittle. But I do know that if I was Kim and I was resting in peace, if there was some words that I allegedly left behind, I would want them to be my words, okay? Why? Because I got young kids who have to read this stuff. Can you imagine how traumatic that must be for the babies? The fact that the kids had to release a statement. Can you read some of the statement, Lauren?
The statement says, claims that our mom wrote a book are simply untrue. Our lives were shattered when we lost our mother. She was our world, and nothing has been the same since she passed. We are deeply saddened that the world has made a spectacle of what has been the most tragic event of our lives. Our mother should be remembered for her beautiful, strong, kind, and loving woman she was. Her memory should not be tainted by horrific conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I mean, people believe everything they read on the internet except the truth. And I'm not even mad at people that are misinformed. I'm more upset about the people who willfully misinform them. Chris Todd said himself, I don't know if this is real, yet he still put it into the world. With no regard to Kim Porter's legacy, no regard to how this will impact the kids, all he could think about was capitalizing off the current news cycle concerning Diddy. And he's not the only one. I am all for exposing the truth, but you have to know it's the truth. And the thing I've learned about the truth in my life is that the lies are always loud. The truth is always quiet. And it was like that before social media, but social media now just amplifies the lies even louder. According to People magazine, Kim Porter's family is pursuing legal options. Her lawyer calls the memoir fake and shameless. I hope they sue, even if you don't get anything, because there might not be anything to get. Sometimes you just have to make examples out of people. Most of the time, folks, don't sue. It's because it costs money to sue. It costs time to sue. And you spend all this money and all this time and don't get nothing back. But every now and then, you just have to prove a point. And that's what I want everyone to understand. Can you afford to lie? Can you afford to not have something be actual and factual? I know YouTube and these podcasts make you feel like you can say whatever you want, but please always remember, free speech is not free. And there's a cost for every single word you utter. And if you can't afford to lie, please shut the F up forever. Please let Remy Ma give Chris Todd the biggest hee-haw.
Hee-haw, you stupid motherfucker. Are you dumb?
That's sad.
It is sad.
Very sad. All right. Well, thank you for that donkey today.
There's only one thing I would want to believe in this book.
What is that, sir?
I don't want to say.
What is that?
What is that? It's just, it's this little rhyme.
What's that?
Begging for a pagan.
That's all you care about.
Brad, you've been going off with the sound effects.
First of all,
and you gonna look around like you didn't. You led him right to it.
Whoa.
You look so surprised.
Whoa.
Like you didn't know it was coming your way.
I had no idea. Let me hold my Palo Santo.
Please.
Jesus.
Okay.
All right.
Let's like that at 4 a.m. next time, y'all. He's been off all day. I don't know what's going on.
Pagan is crazy.
All right. Well, thank you for that donkey today. Now let's open up the phone lines.
For it.
All right.
You want to be pegged?
Woosah, begging for the pagan.
You don't like the people who beg. You want them to it's just a text message conversation. Where you at with the eyes?
Begging for it is crazy. Regardless of who's begging for it. Just begging for it? Please pay me. God damn.
Can we save that audio? Do you have that audio? Thank you. All right.
Donkey of the Day is sponsored by renowned personal injury attorney Michael the Bull Lamonsoff. Don't be a donkey when you need a fighter on your side. If you're ever injured, go to michaelthebull.com. That's michaelthebull.com. And when you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.